Recording in progress.
Call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amy, would you take roll, please?
Absolutely. Commissioner Dibdahl,
Here.
Commissioner Cronin. Here. Commissioner Wire.
Here.
Commissioner Shaw.
Here.
And Mr. Mayor Lindsay.
Here. You have before you the agenda for this evening.
Motion to adopt agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next thing, oath of office for Roy Lindsay for his term as mayor.
Yeah, what's going on here? Nobody.
Hey,
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
for the city of Madison to the best of my ability.
for the city of Madison to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. You have before you the consent calendar.
Motion to adopt the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no unfinished business, under new business, public hearing upon the application for a retail on-off malt beverage and South Dakota wine license for Go-Go Burritos. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of Go-Go Burritos in the hearing? Seeing none, we will move on to number 11. Consider approval of a retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine alcohol license application to Go-Go Burritos.
Motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 12, public hearing upon the application for retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine alcohol license, Sundog Coffee House. Is there anyone here that wants to speak on behalf of them in the hearing? Seeing none, consider approval of a retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine alcohol license application to Sundog Coffee.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Are they still operating under Sundog Coffee House?
Yes, they are.
Change that. Okay.
So this is different ownership than when the first time it was Sundog, but they are returning to the Sundog name. So the corporation on the application is Sundog Coffee House, both as the corporation as well as the DBA.
Okay.
Kelly, did Chief Meyer have any comments?
Nope, Chief Meyer didn't have any, negative feedback for any of the malt beverages or the off-sale liquor license that's later in the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 14, public hearing upon the application for a package off-sale liquor license for One Stop. Okay, is there anyone here that would like to speak? Please come forward and turn on the mic, identify yourself, and go ahead and give us your... Well, The thing is that we would like it, so, because this is recorded and people are watching, so if you wouldn't mind stating your name.
Yeah,
You
once
gotta
you push the
hold it.
button, there'll be the
Red
little
button.
light that
Red
pops
light
up
will
here.
come on at the top.
Keep trying. You have to push a little.
There you go, you got it.
Learning.
You got it.
My name's Heston Jorgensen. I'm here on behalf of One Stop. I guess any questions for you guys about our liquor license?
Okay, I'll open it up to the commission.
I guess I'll just ask, the intentions are just to serve, or to sell, liquor, that's,
Yeah, mainly, just like vodka-based drinks to put in a beer cooler. So you're talking carbless, high noons, that sort of thing.
sure.
For consumption off
Off
premises.
sale,
Yeah,
yeah.
off premises. Yep. Other questions or comments?
It's Jameson, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a certain amount of number of these, right? And there's one one available and one additional that's gonna be available?
This would be for the new one, so I'll give some background here. We had awarded one the last meeting or somewhat recently, and that was the last one that was available. But with the passage of House Bill 1079 in the legislature this last year, that increases the number of off-sale licenses by one. That is effective July 1. We confirmed with Department of Revenue that we're able to hold a hearing since we've received an application, and we can hold that before July 1 occurs, but this license would not be effective until July 1. We have received a second license as well from a different company, but that was after this one was received, and it has to be published in the newspaper 10 days in advance, 7 days in advance, thank you, Heather, before we can have the hearing on that. So regardless of how you act tonight, that we will have to have that hearing at the next one as well. And if there's not a license available, then that's going to be the answer for that one. This would be, again, for the new license effective July 1.
And this is for off-sale, so only not on-off, so what do we have available on-off?
I don't know that we have any available for on-sale. So there's on-sale liquor, there's off-sale liquor, there's restaurant liquor, but I guess the two that we'll emphasize is on-sale versus off-sale. This is for an off-sale, and the difference is where the alcohol is consumed. For on-sale is consumed on the premises, they're serving the alcohol, and when you have off-sale, it's something that can be sold and then taken off the premises, so you're selling it but not serving it.
Other questions?
You ever see yourself expanding past the cooler drinks, like jugs and things like that?
Not necessarily right away, but I mean, it's been a conversation, but
Okay.
probably not immediately.
Maybe during the winter,
Yeah.
when it's cold out?
Other questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion
And that's
to,
number 15.
I'll make a motion to approve the off-sale liquor license for One Stop.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Again, thank you for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Number 16, resolution number 2025-10, electric revenue bond reimbursement. Jameson or Amy? Amy, you
Miss-
want to tackle that one?
I'll grab this one. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is again the first step as we're getting ready for some large electric infrastructure projects occurring over the next several years. This simply states that we may borrow up to $15 million at a future time. It does not commit the city to the financing or take out any debt. It helps us it allows us to capitalize any expenses that are incurred prior to taking out that debt. So at a future point, as we're getting close to those projects, we'll likely need to take out some electric revenue bonds, and this is simply expressing the intent. It's something that is recommended to do to help us stay in the good graces of the IRS, and we certainly want to do that. I'll stand by for any questions.
And then just comments on that. This is for the required upgrades and that for us to meet the future needs of the city based on changes that are outside of our control. Am I correct on saying that, Mike?
Yes, you are, Mayor.
Okay. Okay. Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
Jameson, you've received assistance or direction on how to do this, correct? This wasn't in-house?
Yep, so Toby Morris of Collier Securities is who had drafted this resolution and indicated that before we look at taking out electric revenue bonds at a future, and that'll have separate action, separate documentation that goes with that, that this would be the first step to express that intent.
This just gives us the ability, if we have any expenditures before the bond is pulled, that we will be able to be reimbursed for those.
Thank you.
Other questions? Comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-10, electric revenue bond reimbursement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 17, resolution number 2025-11, power and duties of the mayor and the commissioners. And Jameson, do you want to address that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution is adopted each year, and it sets what the roles and responsibilities are of each of our elected officials. This is identical to the one that was passed last year, so that states that the mayor has all the powers customary to his position. Sarah Cronin will serve as the Commissioner of Finance, Kelly Dibdahl of Public Safety, Adam Shaw of Public Works, and Jeray Wire of Utilities. And then there's a variety of boards, committees, and otherwise that fall within those same positions that get assigned. Again, we assign this as the same as we did last year, knowing that we have an upcoming vacancy taking place. It is very possible that once a new commissioner is appointed to serve in that position, that we may want to revisit this and shift duties and responsibilities around. But until we know who that person's going to be, we don't want to make those changes.
Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-11, power and duties of mayor and commissioners.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 18, resolution 2025-12, finance rate and fee schedule. Jameson or Amy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This sets the fees and rates for a few different finance-related items. Many of them are found in ordinance, some of them are not. You may be familiar with other resolutions we've passed and we have approved in the past that are related to public works and utilities, fees, rates, fines, charges, otherwise. And so this is similar to that, but more directed towards the finance department. If there is a reference to ordinance, you'll find that in the left-hand column of the table. The only things that are actually changing from what our current operations are the rates for the temporary malt beverage license fee and the temporary liquor license fee. Those used to be $5 a piece, and that wasn't even coming close to covering the publication cost that we have to hold those hearings. Finance staff has reached out to other cities and found some comparisons from what others charge and placed us kind of right in the middle of the pack at $50 and $100 respectively on those two items. So we want to pass this resolution. To our understanding, it's the first time it's been passed that gets all these things in a nice table and laid out. And in the future, as things need to get updated, it would be simple to reapprove this resolution with those changes. I'll stand by for any questions.
Questions or comments?
Do we feel the other fees are in line with where
Amy?
they should be?
Yes, I do. We looked at the fees across several different cities. There are 6 other cities surrounding us that are at the $50 rate.
Then the rest we thought were
Correct, yes.
in line.
We are in line with those.
Other questions? Comments? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-12, finance rates and fee schedule.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 19, consider award of bid number 971, electric distribution conversion 2025. Jameson or Mike?
I'll take a stab at it.
Okay.
So we have a conversion project each year, and so this converts some of our overhead transmission lines to underground, and each year we take another chunk of that transmission line and continue that conversion process. We had 6 bids this time, ranging from $409,224.32. That was from Builders Electric, and ultimately is our recommended award bidder, and up to a high amount of $738,000 and some change. The The engineer's estimate on this was $540,000, so we are about $130,000 under the estimate. This is occurring in the southwest corner of our community along Highland Avenue over to Union Avenue as well. Mike, anything to add?
No, I don't think so. Just, we say transmission, but it's the distribution system that we're working on instead of, yeah. So just verbiage there is all.
Very good. Questions or comments?
Were there any exceptions to the bid?
No, there were not.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Comments?
It's nice to see it come in under engineering estimate again. So thank you and your team and DGR or whoever you had working on it.
Yeah, it was a collaborative effort. Everybody did wonderful.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to award bid number 971 electric distribution conversion 2025 to Builders Electric.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 20, consider award of bid number 973, hay ground rental to John Dobler. Jameson, you want to address that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city owns a number of miscellaneous properties around the community totaling about 50 acres that is suitable for haying and baling. And so each year we have had for the last couple of years, we have bid out competitively that haying ability on the property. John Doblar was the low bidder and the only bidder, I should note, for $600. This year, we decided to do a 3-year bid on it, so we don't have to do this every year. We felt that this is something that we could do a multi-year contract with. And so that $600 is for the entirety of the 3-year contract. I'll stand by for questions.
And then just to clarify again, is that 600 per year or 600 for 3 years?
For 3 years.
For 3
Yep.
years.
So it'll be, I don't know if, Ryan, is it paid $600 up front or $200 a year?
It's paid up front.
Okay, $600 up front.
Okay. And John has done this before, and the nice thing is he fertilizes and weed sprays too, so we don't have to deal with that. So, questions or comments?
do we set dates that it has to be mowed or cut by?
My experience with it in the past is no, because once your hay gets up to a certain point, if you let it go beyond that, your nutritional value drops. And so, he knows that, and so he'll cut it at the optimal times.
Yeah, and part of this is weed spraying as well. He's responsible to spray weeds and take care of that.
So how do we handle this with our ordinance for grass?
So these are in like egg zone districts, they're not in residential districts. And so that's where those, lawns really apply.
Other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve bid number 973, hay ground to John Dobler for $600.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 21, authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 3 to owner engineer agreement 2304-01069 with KLJ Engineering LLC. Jameson, Ryan, is this one yours?
Go ahead, Ryan.
So this is the final amendment to the owner-engineer agreement for Egan Avenue. The original agreement amount was for the preliminary design, and then we had a second amendment for the final design and the bidding process. And this would be the third component, which would be construction oversight and management. This amendment amount is $600,200. That's about 10% of what the bids came in at. That makes the adjusted agreement amount about $1.5 million.
Questions or comments?
In your estimation, is that a fair bid, Ryan?
It's a higher percentage than what we're used to seeing, and a lot of that is due to a number of open houses that we had, a number of one-on-one landowner meetings. We have landscape architects that are part of this project we don't typically have. It's also a multi-phase project, and so, there's a lot more time commitment for the engineering company. And being that this is SRF funding, we have to have full-time observation on the project. We could try to do that ourselves, but we'd have to devote an entire staff member just to Egan Avenue. It just doesn't work out.
And this is an amendment rather than it's not a change order, it's an amendment.
Right, it's an amendment. This was the plan all along, that we would have these amendments to the original owner-engineer agreement.
This would be the maximum we would pay?
Correct, yeah. We don't anticipate actually spending that total amount.
Okay.
For the other phases, we haven't spent the total amount either. So this amendment shows that the adjusted agreement is the 1.5 million, but when we get down to the end, we won't spend that much.
And this is for 2 years, correct?
Yes, correct. Yep, this takes us to the end.
Okay.
Other questions? Comments? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 3 to owner-engineer agreement 2304-01069 KLG Engineering LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 22, authorize the mayor to sign the FAA Form 5100-110, request for FAA approval of agreement for transfer of entitlements to the Madison Municipal Airport. Again, Ryan, you want to address this one?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this agreement would then authorize the city to transfer funds from the FAA to the state of South Dakota for the statewide airport pavement maintenance project. So that pavement maintenance project involves crack sealing, there's asphalt seal coat, and then they repaint the pavements. So we need to act as we are the transferring sponsor, so we would get the funds from the FAA and we would transfer them to the state of South Dakota in the amount of $115,000. And we don't have, for the eligible portions of the pavement maintenance project, we don't have a percentage that we chip toward that. It's all FAA.
100%.
Yep, it's all FAA. There are portions that the airport board has discussed doing extra that aren't eligible. Those would be 100% then local cost if we chose to do those.
Questions? Comments?
What was the total project value?
It's the 115,000.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign FFA Form 5100-110, request for FAA approval of agreement for transfer of entitlements for the Madison Municipal Airport.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Authorize the mayor to sign the grant application for AIG 3-46-0029-027-2025 for the Madison Municipal Airport. And again, Ryan, you want to address this one?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this would be a grant application, AI improvement grant. We have an airport improvement grant, and then the next item is the airport improvement program. They both are being utilized for the same project, but they are split within the project. So the airport improvement grant would be utilized for reconstruction of the apron, and then the airport improvement program would be for reconstruction of the taxi lane. And so to take them one at a time, the airport improvement grant would be a total of $116,850 of federal cost, and then the state and local, we chip in each 2.5% each. So our local amount to that is $3,075. And this would again go for the reconstruction of the apron. There is another portion of the apron that's ineligible. It's up near the hangar. That would be cost that the city would need to bear on our own. So, the eligible portions, we only owe $3,075.
And then I'll add to that, and that typically in that, the city has to pay 5% and the state 5%.
Yeah.
But on this project here, the, federal is picking up 95% of the project instead of 90. So it's definitely to our benefit. Questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item number 23.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, number 24, authorize the mayor to sign the grant application for AIP 3-46-0029-028, 2025 to the Madison Municipal Airport. And Ryan just kind of explained that with the other one. Are there any questions on it? Any comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign grant application for AIP 3-46-0029-028-2025 Madison Municipal Airport.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well done.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, number 25, update on the advanced metering infrastructure, the AMI project. And Mike Pluster, I'm gonna ask you to address this one if you would.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know this has been a project that's been taking a long time, but we've made some huge strides, so as soon as Judge gets this up, we'll start going here. I got a little slideshow for you guys. Let's try and.
I tried following those lines today, and I didn't know whether they were going or where I was going.
All right, so advanced metering infrastructure, they're the new meters, obviously, that we're putting in. It allows us to read the meters, disconnect, have unlimited amount of data that we can track, and history we can provide to the citizens of Madison. So this is our AMI update. Next slide, please. A little agenda IT update, and Jed, if you wanted to pop in on that at any time, go ahead. Installation update, OATI update, just a few challenges we've had, and then we're gonna end with meters by the numbers. So in the beginning, most of this stuff with the IT happened before I got here. They discovered that the KVAR was not the right property that they needed to get into our billing software to calculate power factor and demand. I know Jed, City of Madison, Julie, when he was here, and Chris Shivers from OAT, they worked really hard and they got that going. So it was a collaborative effort. We think that we have it right now, where everything's correct. It's been pushing into Tyler correctly. We've been monitoring that for approximately 2 months now. We're still gonna keep monitoring that, and at the end of this week, we will install one of our first 3-phase meters on a different account that has a demand on it. So we're gonna watch that after we install that one to make sure we don't miss out on any of our 3-phase accounts, miss out on a bunch of revenue. So that'll happen later this week to get that first one installed, and that'll probably be on the water treatment plant. So, Jed, do you wanna add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, basically what we were doing there with the KVAR hours is that the way Julie was calculating demand in the Tyler system was basically using a second set of meters to do that. Essentially, it'll come directly from the actual AMI meter now, all in one. So basically, it's just adjusting reports, which is actually pretty neat the way OATI wants to do that. So that was all that's about. As for what KVAR hours are, Mike, you could probably explain that better than I can. But yeah, that was actually a lot of work there. So, anything else?
Question. Can you put that in layman's terms?
Can I put that in layman's terms? KVAR hours.
Well, we needed straight lines and there was curved lines.
Gotcha.
So now
Okay.
we made them all straight and now everything's working in the utility billing.
All right. Very good.
Essentially, yeah, we're basically gonna get it from one source, and Julie can do her reporting a lot easier with it.
And it's correct is the main thing.
Yep.
Yes.
And you will be hooking up our first 3-phase meter?
We have a couple right now that are just watch. We're gonna get one demand one this week, which is the wastewater treatment plant or the water purification plant. So we'll get that out at the end of this week. Tess is working on getting that meter programmed. As soon as that's done, we'll get that out, and we'll get that watched for a month or two, and once we decide that is coming in all correct and everything's good, we can start analyzing the meters and procuring three-phase meters at that time.
Very good.
Next slide, please. So this is the installation update. This is what we've been doing in operations. So ultimately, we want to be 100% AMI electric. There's reasons for that. We want to be able to read our water meters. And later on in the slideshow, you'll see that I broke it down with a couple pictures of the actual AMI head end that we get to see. And you'll see how much it is helping. So we did order 1,000 single-phase meters, AMI. Installation is underway. We can do about 25 a day right now to where we're not overloading utility billing. So we're sticking to that approximate 25 meters a day. It is increasing the water meter reads daily, and in fact, from when I made this, it's up quite a bit. When I get to that slide, I'll update you and tell you how much it's actually came up. So, and then we talked about the three-phase as well. So what the guys are doing out in the field is working, and we can show you guys here in a second. Next slide, please. So I wanted to give an update from Chris Shivers. He's our account manager from OATI, which is the service that takes care of us. He helps with utility billing. He helps with the head end application. They design, it's their system that we're using. So if you guys wanted to read that, or I can read through it, the overall AMI conversion is in good state. So the 100% of the electric AMR ERT single-phase meters, which are not AMI, are being read through the AMI system and used for monthly billing activities. We're going to continue to deploy the single-phase. This update was a while ago, so we have those meters in hand, and we are installing them as we speak. Every day we're installing 25. So Tyler Tech, OATI, and Madison have confirmed three-phase data transfer. We're confident that is correct. And then with the deployment of more AMI water meters, we're sitting at about 74% of the ERT water meters are being read. And then at the end, OATI has started routine firmware update activities for us as a managed service, providing updated functionality and reliability. It's really nice with OATI. If we feel like we need something different, and if it's not too big of an ask, they develop that for us and they push it out. And it's been very, very beneficial for us. As far as Julie goes with utility billing, and even us in the field, we've asked for data from them, and it's not a problem. They'll push it out on I don't know, Jed, what does he call it?
Just the OATI head end here?
No, when he pushes the information out, what's that called?
Oh, it's just a firmware update when they're doing that.
Firmware updates. Yeah, so he does that firmware updates, and that updates us and helps us a lot. So any questions on that so far?
And when we're talking firmware updates, we're talking like sometimes hundreds of units at a time, so it sends it out in chunks, which is actually pretty neat with the technology that they got.
Mm-hmm. So some of the challenges we've seen are meter failures. We're still seeing some meter failures. It's not as high as what it was. We are sending those in for RMAs to get those replaced at no cost as of right now. We only have access to 90-day data on the OATI head end. Anything above and beyond that, we have to go to OATI. If we want to do any analytics on a service, if there's customer complaints that their bill is high for some reason, we can go back and we can actually see all that stuff for 90 days. And if we want anything more than that, we have to go to OATI. So they will build that out if we want that to, but that's not something that I'm currently pursuing at this time because we have not had to use that enough to justify the amount of money that we would have to pay to have that built out. So another one is the Book 27 government accounts is still on paper. Manual and visual reads, that's being worked on right now since we're installing and we're gonna get to the government accounts. So we're just gonna make it digital and make everything run smooth. Any other challenges that you think, Jed, or?
And that piece, no, just getting them all swapped out essentially, you know, eliminate all of our manual and, you know, get rid of the earths, great.
Yeah, and that's the main goal. So if we look at this picture here, we're looking at our electric meters, the AMI. So we have 1,253 meters that are out there, 1,249 that are online, 2 that are at our join request, and 2 that are outage. So the join request is when we put a meter in there trying to get that meter to talk to the application. And right now, that is, we're sitting at 99.6% of the AMI meters that are being read, which is outstanding. Any questions on the AMI?
In the past, in that, we would be measuring our amount of water pumped out of this system into the system, and then comparing that with, you know, what was being billed for, and we could see, you know, where we had water losses. Sometimes we could tell, you know, that they were caused, you know, by flushing the hydrants and things like that. And sometimes in that, you know, it was just kind of undergone losses, and that maybe preceding, you know, an actual break. Do you see this being a better advantage in that, since we can, is this a little more in real time?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's got the water usage right down to, I think, down to the hour. You can see your water usage on at any given point.
Very good.
So, yep. So this is the AMI meters right now. The AMI meters was at 1,253. We're at 1,308 right now. So that's how many we've installed just since, I don't know, when did I send you that, on Thursday? Yeah, so we've increased that many meters in the field since Thursday.
Very nice.
Yeah. Next is, this is the water meters. We have 2,760 ERT water meters. We have 1,895 communicating, and then we have 695 not communicating. As of today, that number is substantially higher. We still have, obviously, we still have 2,760, but we have 1,932 that we're communicating with, just from us since Thursday, since I sent this to Jameson to have them added onto here. So it's working. We can see right there that it's working. So we're at 69% on this graph. Normally it will jump and it will change during the day. We've been up to 75% of the water meter reads. So, any questions on this slide?
What are the unknown category there?
Unknown, that's a great question. When we get into something like a DSU where we do not have the electric service in there, they have water meters inside there, and we cannot communicate with that because our AMI meters are not close enough and able to reach that with the RF capability. So it's just the saturation. We will not be able to get those electric meters inside of DSU to read those.
In the future, if we do swap them out to a lower radio on those water meters, we should actually be able to do that. So that's coming here in the next probably couple of years.
So these are slides I was talking about. These are our electric meters. This is in the head-end application. If you look at the area around DSU, it's good to acclimate yourself right there. You'll see the dark blue dots. Those are all our AMI meters. The light blue is our ERT meters, which are non-AMI. You'll see that we're saturated to the north and to the south of DSU. If you want to go to the next slide. Now these are our water meters. If you look at that same area, where we've deployed heavily the AMI meters, we're able to pick up most of all the water meters through that area. So the blue is communicating, the red is not communicating, and the black is no status. Any questions?
What's no status? What is?
No, that's the one, what I was talking about before. We're not able to get to that meter because it's inside of DSU. Yeah. And not communicating is probably the battery inside the water meters. We're getting to this.
If I'm a betting man on those, are probably in basements, and it's having a hard time getting out of those basements is the reason why you're seeing that. So, like I said, once we get a different style of radio on those particular meters, we should be able to read them.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question, I guess. How many water meters do we have in stock?
That's a great question. I don't know that right offhand.
Yeah, I mean ballpark, and then are there significant lead times on these, like three-phase meters, when eventually we're gonna be looking? Do you have a pulse on that at all, or?
I don't, not right now, No, not lead times on three-phase. We kind of pushed, I kind of pushed that off the three-phase because that's something that we haven't budgeted for yet. And that's something that's, it's gonna be
Significant
a
amount.
pretty good chunk of change for us to go ahead and procure those. Any questions for me on the AMI update?
I guess I just want to make a comment. I just want to compliment Mike and Jed and all staff for this. For those that don't know, this has been a project that goes back 2 utility directors, and there's been very little progress. So to see progress is awesome. So keep up the good work, and thank you guys.
Amen. Been at this for quite some time.
Great team effort. We got a great team down there that'll,
I know, this has been going on since I came on in 2020.
Yeah, and we started this project back before 2019, I know. Because it started under my watch. And then I was out those 3 years, so. So it is nice to see all the blue dots in that and fewer red dots.
blue dots are good, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Any other questions or comments?
Between this and that Tyler getting installed has been huge.
It has, yes. Okay, we'll move on to number 26, Jameson City Updates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll start running through our usual monthly updates. Jumping right in, we've got our active project list. We've got a few more that we've added onto it this month, as we've had construction progress going on. We've also tried adding on some statuses, so we don't have each of these items in every update each month, but you can see some of them are on progress, maybe they're on hold for different reasons. And as we get into the year, some will be moving on towards construction as well. We'll start with some of our major infrastructure projects for this year. Next slide. It looks like a long list, and it is, but we've actually got less big projects than we've had in some previous years. Definitely some big ones here and some important ones too that we're excited to see move forward. I'll start out segment 4. This is a water main loop that goes around our industrial park. That was largely complete throughout the winter months. They're able to continue construction, and all that's remaining is that there is some areas of asphalt to be replaced and then the seating on the project. So we expect that to be wrapping up soon. Segment 5A. So 5A was started last year around Southwest 4th and then Union, and it's continuing now with the last 2-ish blocks, I would say, on the south side of Union. And so they have had the road closed and they're dewatering the site. And they're nearly complete with sidewalk installation, so the landowners continue accessing the properties. Underground utility work is scheduled to begin on May 5th, which is today. So Ryan, did that get started today?
Yep, I did.
Perfect. 5B then is going to be on Highland Avenue, and these are utility replacements. So unlike many of our other segments, this segment is not a full reconstruction. You're not going to see Highland ripped up and similar to some of our other projects we've had. There's still substantial construction that goes on, but it's going to be looking a little bit differently. Winter contracting is on that, and they're mobilizing to the site starting on May 12th, so a week from today, and then they expect to start work that week on the 15th. First phase must be completed before moving on, and so that is Highland Avenue from Southwest 4th to Southwest 1st, and then reopening to traffic within 20 days of that closure. So we are looking at having a closure on that for a few days, or for a couple working weeks here before opening up and moving on to the next phase. Ryan, anything you'd add or clarify on that?
No, I think that sums it up.
So now, since we're in that neighborhood, how will it affect City Hall?
Ryan, any thoughts on accessing this facility?
We'll still be able to access this, south parking lot for sure. And, the intersection of 4th and Highland will be closed. It probably won't be closed that full 20 days. We just have some sewer work to do there, and then there'll be a boring pit, and they may be able to reopen some of those lanes up. But they are allowed to close that for 20 days. But you'll be able to still come around and access our parking lots.
So that's something we'll want to make sure that we put out to the public and that, so that they know how to get here and that. So very good.
Yeah, there'll be detour signage up and.
The next project I'll note is Site 2 on our Creek Walls project. So the other sites are largely finished up. This one is the only one that's remaining. Sheet piling's been installed, and the next step's gonna be replacing the remaining rock wall sections. Ryan, any timeline on when this project estimated to be complete?
I keep saying this, but probably about a month.
Okay.
Seems like every step we take forward, we take two back when it rains, so.
Yeah.
A month is conservative estimate.
A month, and in a month when we have the updates,
In
we'll
a
check
month,
back again.
in a month, I'll say a month again.
Progress is continuing, and we're excited to see that project wrapped up. All those Creek Wall sites have certainly been long in the coming, and we've been working those for several years, so we are very excited to see them finished.
What was our original completion date?
Oh, gosh. That's going all the way back to 2021.
On that bright note, I'll move on to Egan Avenue
Yeah.
reconstruction.
So, when you're dealing with the federal government and dealing with approvals, sometimes it takes a long time, and they certainly threw some curveballs.
And especially, as Ryan mentioned, working with the federal government there, we've had some of the project managers or our main contacts, I don't know how many we've had, but they continue to,
Over a dozen.
Yep.
And every time you get a new one, you start over.
that's been challenging. All right, Egan Avenue, so this is, I would say our largest project for the year. We've been talking about this one for a long time. So tree removals are beginning this week, and, yep, the May 5th through the 9th. And we're also looking at an open house scheduled for May 12th, so a week from today, in the city commission chambers. That's been advertised out to the public. On the tree removals, I'll note, if you've been driving through the area there, a lot of trees are marked with red, and we've been getting some questions on that, so I wanted to make sure to address that a little. When we first started talking about this project, at the very beginning, one of my first questions to the contractor and to Ryan was, is there a way we can save these trees? The answer is no. Ultimately, when you're doing a reconstruction project of any sort, these trees are just too close to the construction area to be able to work within the construction timeline and just within construction. It's just not practical. My next question was, is there a way that we can relocate them, spade them out, save them in some way? And they had somebody come take a look at all the trees and inventory them to see their condition, and ultimately a large number of the trees are reaching the end of their life expectancy just based on the species of the tree. And we've also seen a lot of damage to the trees because of that small median. Mowing is challenging, so they bump into the trees a lot. The plows, the street sweepers, they break into the branches. So there's a decent number of the trees that have been damaged, and again, at the end of life expectancy, so it did not make practical sense to try to relocate those. So I was disappointed with those answers, but sometimes, even if you don't like the answer, that's what it is, and you gotta accept it. And so, as we're moving forward with removal of a lot of those trees, we do want to assure the public that when the project's complete, we're going to be replacing with new trees, and these are going to be trees that are going to live a lot longer than the existing trees. And we want to make sure that corridor along Egan Avenue continues to be a beautiful location through our historic district to our university, and we want it to be a great street, and I think that's where we're going to get. Any questions on Egan Avenue?
On the trees, I know you said we probably can't save a lot, but if we can save any or try to keep them upright as long as we could, I think everyone would appreciate that versus a construction zone for, 2 years. So whatever, I think if we can do anything or communicate it to the contractors to try to keep as much as we can, if at all possible.
Are they coming in and taking all those middle trees out at once?
Ryan, do you have a status update on the tree removal?
The initial plan was to remove all of the trees from 2nd to 9th Street. They've kind of backed off on that, and they said that they'll just go up to 5th Street, which would be our 2025 work.
Okay.
And probably stop there, so. The challenge with the tree removals is the window in which you have to do it. So if they wait till next spring, they'll have to just make sure they can get those done prior to May 15th. You have to, between May 15th and August 15th, you're not able to remove trees because of the long-eared bat, so it's an environmental issue.
Good questions. Any other questions on Egan?
Are we on schedule?
Yeah, we're on schedule. As long as they can get those trees
Well, it
knocked
said
down
it's gonna
before
start
May
May 6th, and they
15th.
were cutting trees down today, and it's the 5th, so we're ahead.
All right, the last item here is just airport construction. So pre-construction meeting starting for that on May 20th. Obviously, we've approved some items in tonight's agenda that advance that project, so I think we're up to date there. I also wanted to give an update on our restricted use site. This is something that I don't have any recent changes, but it's been long in the making, and it's something that's been prolonged further than we had expected as well. And we know that citywide cleanup is coming up as well, so this all kind of ties together. So I thought it'd be a good time for an update. Here's some of the timeline on the development of a new site. The last couple of years anyway, you could probably even go further back. In '23, at the beginning of the year, we purchased a new property on the west edge of the county via contract for deed. And then we engaged with Lake County government to receive our conditional use permit, and we were successful in that. We also submitted the application for our development of a new restricted use site to the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. And after review, DANR had recommended approval of that permit to the Board of Minerals and Environment. That's the board that oversees the permits for restricted use sites. Shortly after that, which fell into 2024, DANR received petitions from some adjacent property owners to initiate a contested case. And so then that has drug out to where we're at today. Throughout 2024, the parties on both sides processed through some different appeals and requests regarding how the hearing administration would occur. To my understanding, DANR had never received a petition on a restricted use site development before, and so a lot of this stuff takes time to develop some of the precedent that we're developing. That brings us to 2025, and recently the administrative law judge has set a general timeline for when discovery will be made, concluded, when motions have to be filed and finished, and then the hearing to be held by the end of the year. I hope it'll be done well before the end of the year, but it likely will still be in at least the third quarter of the year, so I don't anticipate development of a site in 2025. Our current site still has, I would say, very limited capacity. After last fall, we closed it to the public use because we knew it just didn't have a lot of capacity left. Essentially, what we're expecting is that our citywide cleanup efforts this spring, coming up in a very short time, will fill off that site and there won't be any room left. And then we'll come back to finalize a plan to cap the site so that it can be completed. And then we just unfortunately won't have a site until we get the new one developed, but as soon as we can, we will keep those wheels in motion and keep moving forward. Questions in the restricted use site?
I got a question, I guess, is the additional legalities associated with this gonna be a significant expense to us?
There are expenses. I don't know to what degree. We've already incurred expenses, so this falls outside of the general contract with Jegs Law. I wouldn't quantify them as anything that's going to be outside of our control or management, I guess. I think it's certainly probably less than what's being spent by the petitioners to initiate this. Any other questions?
Do we have the ability to go back and get our fees back?
Do we have the ability to get our costs back? I think that'd be a question I'd probably send to David Jenks at some point in time, whether it's at the end or not. We know that our county and our community needs the site, so we're going to proceed forward with it. And by the end, if we want to try to recoup some of those costs, I think that might be an option at our disposal. Okay. We'll look at some events we've had over the last month. We had our latest city circle, and this one we tied a topic to it. It was infrastructure projects, and so we met with several community members up at the community center and engaged in excellent discussion. Not just infrastructure, we brought some of the boards up, but we also had conversation on the Egan Avenue project, plans for our former City Hall building, as well as downtown revitalization. Also, past events. We had our Arbor Day ceremony that the Parks Department always does a great job putting on, and so our staff and some youth have planted trees to celebrate Arbor Day. And they always do a great job of connecting with kids. In particular, they had the 5th grade class there that they were engaged with. Switching over to some library events, they had partnered with the County Museum to hold the Readers Fair, which was a success, and you can see the large crowd that they had there. One of our own, Carrie Blum, also had offered some of her planting expertise, her green thumb, to help the children from the community center in planting some foods in the library garden. I'm glad it was her, because if it was me, my green thumb would kill all those plants. So Carrie, I'm sure, did a great job. And then, next slide. There it is. Upcoming events. A lot of good stuff we're looking forward to here. The theme for this year's summer reading program at our public library is Color Our World. And so they're kicking off their latest summer reading program, which is always a success. We want to note that there's also a family pool pass, which is between the library and the community center. They've partnered together to offer some checkouts of a family pool pass. So that's something that they can engage with through the library. And then one of their next events is Swifty Night. So I know, I'm sure we'll see all of you guys there. That's going to be on May 10th at 5:30. And, and City Circle, we're going to continue trying to have those about once a month, and so we're finalizing the date and time on that. We're expecting to have a City Circle at the end of this month. Okay. We talked about this last month, but I wanted to make a strong note of it again this month. Our citywide cleanup is in 1 week, May 12th through the 16th. Last month, I really emphasized to the public that we wanted to keep materials off of the curbs, off of the outside properties until citywide cleanup got closer. May 10th is the official date when residents can start putting things out. And I can say I've been very, very pleased with the response. I haven't seen any problems. I think between our Public Works Department and our Police Department, they've been able to communicate if there's been anything set out early, but largely I don't think there's been a lot of issues, and so want to give a sincere thanks to the residents of Madison for adhering to these rules and holding off just a little bit longer before putting out some of those supplies to be taken away for citywide cleanup. So again, the 10th is the official date on that. We've got graduations come up, and so we always like to try to keep the community as clean as possible while we have so many visitors coming to town. May 12th to 16th, next week, we will be busy taking care of citywide cleanup. Our latest Good Neighbors Great Madison encourages residents to keep dogs and pets on a leash. Leashes are required in city ordinance. Pets or dogs are required to be restrained when off of property, and so this keeps not only your pet safe, but also others, whether it's pets or people too. Sometimes we, of course, do get complaints or challenges when dogs are off leash and can cause issues, and so we want to encourage people to use those leashes and keep those pets restrained. Last is a reminder, we're doing an awareness campaign on some of our opportunities to stay informed through the city of Madison. So we have emails, texts, social media, anything you could think of. We have our mobile app. We have lots of ways to stay informed with what's going on in the city, and residents or anyone interested can scan that QR code, visit our website, and get signed up for those different opportunities.
And if that doesn't work, they can always call City Hall and ask the question.
Absolutely. And that runs us to the end. Are there any questions?
I do have a question for Ryan. The seeding projects, when we deal with these, how are we holding these contractors accountable? I mean, if you go back and like look at some of these yards where they did the work, it's terrible. I mean, I was looking at mine the other day, and 2 years out, and it's just completely beaten up where they did all that work, and it's every yard on our block. And then if you look at 9th Street, they're beaten up. And how are we gonna hold those people accountable for that work?
Yeah, it's probably the most difficult thing because it comes down to, and I don't know, perhaps I'm just thinking out loud, but I don't know, is there any way to work with residents where we can, give them X amount of dollars off their water bill if they'll water that new grass? Because if you look and, a good one is 9th Street. If you go up, you can kind of see the residents that watered their lawn. It's really beautiful. But their neighbor next to them that didn't water, it's brown. It never grew. It never caught. So I don't know if there's a way to incentivize people to water and maybe take a little bit off their water bill or something like that. We have tried in the past to put in the contract that the contractor must water, and then they bring water trucks and they spray it. What they end up doing is throwing their hands in the air and going, well, we can't do it. We can't water this way. It's not economical for us, so just don't pay us, but we can't water. Well, we've tried to hold their feet to the fire with that, and it's never worked out, and we've had to have them, reseed 2 or 3 times, eventually they get to the point where they just quit coming back. And that's where we're at with a couple projects. We've got a couple yards that were seeded, and then, a lot of rain came and it washed away all the seed. Well, we can't get that contractor back. So that was a project where we assessed liquidated damages. So we're probably to the point where we've maybe got to hire somebody to come back and do it and utilize some of that liquidated damage money to pay for that cost. But
I think it'd be interesting if you would partner with the homeowner, maybe even, and give them the option to just redo their own yard versus paying somebody to come in and make a mess. 'Cause like,
sure,
I look at mine, and mine's got, sinkholes and cracks, and I'm gonna have to go retill it and plant it. And I think I would've just done it myself to begin with,
Right,
probably, in the
right.
beginning. But I think I would be interested to see how many homeowners would take you up on something like that,
yeah, I don't know.
on the front end of that.
I know two that didn't, it just went ahead and did it, period.
Yeah. But,
And there's the,
but I think your idea of knocking something off of a water bill, so we can get it up and going again, is a good idea too. But I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
I just, you drive around, you look at where we've done work, and some of those lawns are just beaten on,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And I've discussed that with the contractor too, where I've said, well, we have it in here that you're supposed to water this, and you bid the project, so come and water it. And they've kind of brought up, and they said, well, if we do that, then we would like to have an inspection done where we've established the growth, but then we don't have to carry this growth through the year warranty. Can we do it at a 75-day where we've established grass and now the landowner has to take it over? And in that case, they've said, well, we will come and water if that's the case, but if we have to water it for a full year, we're not gonna do that. We can't.
I get it, totally.
and August, September get hot. That's when it really needs a drink. Other questions or comments?
Quick questions, I guess. One, do we have any movement on the signage for the front here or the building, or?
Yep, so we have, obviously what we have now is temporary signage, it's not the permanent signage. We've received a few quotes from different signage companies that can place new monumental signs along Highland Avenue there to direct where people are going. My intention is to have one of those submitted to you for approval at the next meeting.
Will it include, besides, I'm gonna say City of Madison, will it include, Police Department, engineering, and those on the signage?
We have some ability to change the wording on there. It'll likely say something similar to City Hall and Police Station. Those two are kind of the two components to it. City Hall is considered by the public to include several different departments, but Police Station is, in many cities, is not something that's within a City Hall, so we want to note both of those in there. Trying to figure out how to work in the pond that we have behind us as well for fishing opportunities and just general hiking or walking recreation, how to work that in there too, so that the public knows where to go to access that.
Because the one thing that I think it may have slowed down some for a while now, but when the other sign says Madison City Utilities, people stop there and want to pay their bill, and then they get sent down here.
Yeah, and I think they're still getting a number of people stopping in there to pay up there. So there'll be actually two signs here. One is a larger one that's saying City Hall, Police Station, and then there'll be a smaller one that has a drive-through as well to indicate to people that if you want to utilize the drive-through, you come to the north side of the building. So again, finalizing that proposal and looking forward to having that here at the next meeting. Kelly, do you have something else too?
Just an update on the old City Hall?
Yeah, so the old City Hall is still available for any submissions, our request for proposal on redevelopment of the site. I have engaged with a couple different developers who I think are finalizing proposals, I'm hoping. I've probably toured folks at the building 8 or 9 times, but of course some of those are just looking for ideas and maybe aren't able to bring things together to fruition to submit a proposal. But I anticipate having at least one proposal, I'm hoping 2, for consideration.
Very nice.
Excellent.
Other questions? Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment? I haven't didn't see anyone over there that signed up. So under announcements, the next regular commission meeting will be Monday, May 19th at 5:30 PM. But then on the 12th, we will have is it looking at an open house?
Yes.
Okay, so Monday, May 12th, at 5:30, we will have an open house on construction and that. And then also, for those who may be interested in the remaining commissioner's position, applications are online, or you can contact Jameson at the City Hall. Any questions or additions? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.